Hello guys, this is Jamal again. Nice to have you back. Today I want to talk about my 5 favorite things about living in the Netherlands. I moved here 3 months ago to Rotterdam, the second biggest city of the Netherlands, and I'm excited about my journey so far. And thank you very much for the support you've been showing me so far. There are very nice comments in the videos I have been uploading recently. Obviously at the moment I'm also trying to figure my way out which direction I should be going, right? But I see that there is a lot of interest also from my family, from my friends, and also the small community I am connecting on YouTube to actually talk about my experience here in the Netherlands. Obviously it's a very exciting country, right? So yeah, today I thought, after giving my 5 first impressions about the Netherlands, now it's time actually to reveal my 5 favorite things being in the Netherlands, enjoying in the Netherlands. Please remember, this is from the perspective of a foreigner, right? So there will be 5 topics I'll be speaking about, and as a local, as a Dutch, you might have a different perception or a different experience, obviously. Please remember, it's a foreigner giving these observations, right? The first thing I want to speak about, which is obvious, the very international feeling you have in this country. There are so many foreigners, and not only foreigners as they are foreigners, right, by nationality perspective, but there are so many different cultures. The country itself has been very welcoming, right, to certain groups, but beyond that, because of the economy, because of the job opportunities, and because of the liberalness, openness of the Netherlands, there are so many people coming here to start a new life, to look for their future, to make bread for their families, for themselves. I think the whole feeling, the very international feeling you have in this company is unparalleled. You can literally survive in this country without speaking a word of Dutch, right? Well, obviously, we all should learn Dutch, and I also feel ashamed from time to time because I'm not doing enough to learn the language. But this is just because it's so convenient. Everyone speaks English so well, and everybody is, at least, when you meet them, right, are very open to foreigners. I'm not saying that, there are people who do not like foreigners. I'm sure, if you go to a maybe small city in the countryside, there might be some of you who might have even had, unfortunate situations, and I'm sorry if that was your experience. But in general, if you go to a bank, if you go to a shop, or, if you just approach anyone in the streets, you will not have any issues, right? So it's a very international environment. In my apartment building, I understand that there are lots of foreigners living there. When the administration, they actually make an announcement, we're going to fix the lights, I don't know, we're going to do some maintenance work in the wind and stuff like that, they always write it in Dutch and then in English, right? For me, this is incredible. You actually do not need to speak the local language to survive here. So for sure, this international feeling is making you feel comfortable as a foreigner, and I need to admit, I love it, right? Public transport, I mean, within the country as well, getting from one point to another with train is very convenient, right? Again, I'm not saying if you are trekking, if you are going wild into the nature every weekend, obviously you might need a car, right? But for day-to-day basics, getting from one point to another for work, I don't know, for leisure, it's super convenient, right? Especially in Rotterdam, in a big city. The network of the tube, the buses, the trams, it's so convenient. And I talked about this, chip card, right? NS chip card. It's an incredible invention in my eyes. So this is super convenient. Since 2008 is the first time in my life, actually, I have no car. And living in Poland all these years, I was so accustomed to the luxury of having my car. And I need to admit it's very convenient, right? But I was really actually worried, what am I gonna do without my car? I sold it. I was really in pain, my heart was aching, but I need to admit I'm not looking for my car so far. Well, who knows, I might still buy it, right, for different reasons, because I'm a referee, I train a lot, and I don't want to wait for the tram with my wet hair. It's all different thing, right? But if you are in the city center in a big city in the Netherlands, for sure you don't need a car. And the public transport network, it's simply amazing. So I love it. I love it so far. Infrastructure. I want to speak about the infrastructure. generally the buildings, right, when you go to, let me give you a very, concrete example. I'm a football referee, right? So I'm visiting clubs around the city, not always inside the city, sometimes outside the city boundaries as well. Whenever I go to a football club, Verenigingen, I think it is called in Dutch, it's incredible. The showers, the pitches, they are so well maintained. They always have a nice canteen, a small pub of some sort. There's a lot of action going on, and you know that you are in a rich country, in a well-maintained country. I simply love this. The same goes obviously in the cities, right? You wonder how this country is simply not floating. I know that I read something about that it might actually float. So it shows that the engineering is great, right? They preserve old buildings so well. Unfortunately, for example, in Poland, it's not always the case. There are so many beautiful buildings in Poland, those kamienicas, but they're not always well taken care of, especially in the city where I come from in Poland, in Łódź. It's not, one of the nicest looking cities, although I love Łódź, by the way. So after Poland, coming here to the Netherlands to seeing the infrastructure, the roads, wow, it's really a different league on its own, and I truly enjoy it. Now, tricky part. Originally, I come from Turkey, right? So for me, food is religion. Food is a very important part of my life. I enjoy good food. I enjoy cooking. So I'm not going to lie. I do not know much about the Dutch food. But that smoked herring with onions on it, with all due respect, it's not my thing, right? I need more sophisticated food. But the good thing, I'm not here to judge or criticize the Dutch food, because this video is about my favorite things about the Netherlands. What I really do love, guys, you can get really good food. There are so many restaurants. Just to give you an example, I've been to a Turkish restaurant, I think 3 days ago. I've had the most amazing kunefe and baklava, as good as you would get it in Turkey, way better than many places you would get it in Turkey, and I'm not joking. Of course, I cannot afford to eat out every night either, but on the other hand, even for 10 euros, you can go to one of those Surinamese or Chinese, food stalls, and you can get decent food even for a tenner, right? I'm not saying it's the cheapest, that you should go out and spend your money dining out every day. Like I said, I love cooking, that's no problem. But there are so many options, and you can get really interesting international food here. Well, I don't know, if one day if I meet a Dutch girl and meet their parents, and their grandparents cook me really good traditional Dutch food, then it's a whole different story. But as a foreigner, I don't know much about Dutch food, and you can't see much apart from this bitterballen and all the fries. So, but the international food you get here is really amazing, is of good quality. Obviously more expensive than cooking at home, but it's not that bad, right? So I really enjoy the food scene here. The last thing I want to talk about, you might find this a bit interesting, right? I like the banking system. See, again, if you've been living here for a long time, you might say, oh, what, banking sucks. Probably you've never had an issue yet with a bank, that's why you like it. Well, I accept that, right? Remember, I'm at 18. I'm also an adult, having lived abroad for long years. I know banking can be really difficult, especially when you move to a different country. But I will be very honest with you, right? Okay, I moved within EU. Maybe that's the reason why it wasn't such a big drama. But what I have seen so far, the customer service, and I'm working with ABN AMRO. Everyone actually recommended me to use ABN AMRO. And everything has been smooth so far, right? They delivered my cards, this fancy 80s style pin machine, right? Token machine. But whenever I had a problem, it's very convenient to talk to a real consultant, like a live consultant. They always speak English very well, and they always give you a professional solution. And the most beautiful thing, you can invest easily in this country. You can have a DEGIRO or eToro account, right? What many people do. But buying stocks, buying funds, I don't know, SP 500 or any assets, commodities, it's possible to do with this even basic self-directory investment account of ABN AMRO. and I simply love it. So banking, obviously, the Dutch are famous for their banking system, their reliable economy. I simply love it. So guys, here is my top 5 in the Netherlands. The international feeling, the environment, the public transport, right? The infrastructure of the country, the variety of restaurants and food scene, and the banking system. So give thumbs up to the video, and if you have an experience amongst any of these 5 topics I've been talking, please write down in the comments so I can read and learn from your experience. And yeah, hope to catch up in another video. Take good care, guys. Bye bye.